Hello? Testing? Testing? Okay. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so we're just trying to double check your storage. So before we can actually get into what I want to test today, running low on storage. Let's see if I can get this game up and running. Perfect. Okay, so maybe not. We're just trying to double check your storage. So before Direct 3D thing going on, we can actually get into what I want to test today. Running low on storage. Let's see if I can get this game up. Perfect. Okay, so well, so far it's loading. That's already a lot. Okay. So far so good. So we're looking at 768p, DirectX 9, everything set at low. Yeah, as low as you can go. Okay. Not resolution though. I think you could still we'd be able to drop the resolution further, but 1024 by 768 is, well, that's really as well, it's I think it's a good starting point, and we'll see if we need to drop it further. Okay, so do I have anything I can load here? Continue maybe. Okay, it doesn't seem to have a windowed version, and the FPS overlay on the top there is just coming on and off there randomly. Not that I'm doing anything, but yeah. Okay, so the game, it's looking nice. I'm seeing there are 39, the 45, 49 frames per second, So that looks kind of solid. This reminds me very, very well of the Xbox 360 version for sure. I remember that version. In fact, I do have the console here. Not sure about the game, but definitely we'd be able to boot it up and double check. Now there is some lag going on here. As you guys can see, it has dropped to 16, 15. Now I do remember this kind of like, a busy area back in the day. Look at all the people here waiting in line. This is kind of like a checkpoint, and you can see these people are a bit nervous. They're a bit I don't know. They're just like they don't want to be there, right? So for some reason we know the guy, he lets us through. As you guys can see, the lag is still pretty heavy, and the frame rate is still pretty low. Now, I'm not really sure if this is thermal throttling or that, well, hey, for some other reason, maybe I can't run the game. Not sure. Maybe I have to reboot the laptop. This is clearly an entrance, exit, entrance. So before Direct 3D thing going on, we can actually get into what the laptop. But yeah, so far 30 FPS here. Yeah, I wonder why it's lagging so bad. Honestly, in my opinion, it's kind of unexpected for this to lag so bad. Like, I really wouldn't expect the so far first Metro game lagging this bad. Like, it's an old game, Yeah, I wonder why it's lagging so bad. But who knows? Honestly, who knows the issue we could be having here? Kind of unexpected for this to lag so bad. I definitely can't see the specs at all time. First Metro, which is a pity. Lagging this bad. It doesn't seem to be working. Here, show performance monitor. Top center. Who knows? There we go. Who knows the issue? And it's not in the best condition. Text size scaling. I'll drop that a bit. Like so. There we go. Which is a pity. So what do we have? We have, it looks like a GPU bottleneck here. I'd bet on the GPU bottleneck. And it's not definitely not CPU. You guys can see CPU. It's running at what? Oh, there. Disappeared again. 40-some%. There we go. I wonder why it's just showing up and disappearing. We have, it looks like a, I get a knife. No, nothing else. I'd bet on the GPU bottleneck. A knife, that's it. Definitely not CPU. You guys can see CPU. It's running at what? Oh, there. Yeah, I remember this part. 40-some%. There we go. They showing up and disappearing. Those like weird animals, no, nothing mutant, whatever they are, they just start attacking us. There you see. You guys can see CPU. It's running at what? Oh, there. Yeah, I remember this part. 40-some%. It's lagging pretty bad. Showing up and disappearing. Those like weird animals, no, nothing mutant, whatever they are, they just start attacking us. There you see. Can somebody please hand me a rifle? It's lagging pretty bad, you know, but I really have no clue what you think you're doing over there. Not that smart, you know. They do seem aggressive and whatnot, but they're not the smartest. So just let them please hand me a rifle. Kill bugs. They don't want to give me a weapon. Well, you know what? I really have no clue what you think you're doing over there. Not that smart. It's not like I'm gonna be doing too much. They do seem aggressive and whatnot, but want me to play the game or give me a weapon? I don't know. Just let them. Tired of having to carry a knife here. You know, this is Metro. This ain't they don't want to give me a weapon. Neighborhood park. You know. You gotta give me a weapon, man. I'm gonna be doing too much. Oh, and there's more. Play the game, and I still get no weapon here? Come on, these ugly critters, bro. Tired of having to carry a knife here, you know. This is ugly Metro. That shit is, man. They don't want to give me a weapon. Neighborhood park, you know. No weapon? You gotta give me. Where's the other guy? Oh, there he is. Give me your fucking weapon, dude. And I still get no weapon here? Come on, these ugly critters, bro. Tired of having to carry a knife here, you know. This is ugly Metro. That shit is, man. Neighborhood park, you know. No weapon? You gotta give me. Where's the other guy? Old people. Oh, there he is. Give me your fucking weapon, dude. And I still get no weapon here? Come on, these ugly critters, bro. Tired of having to carry a knife here, you know. This is ugly Metro. That shit is, man. Neighborhood park, you know. No weapon? You gotta give me. Where's the other guy? Old people. Oh, there he is. Give me your fucking weapon, dude. Okay, so let's see. You know, I thought at first we weren't going to be able to run the game. I don't know why. But, I don't know. I still think, honest to God, that performance is very poor. Like, honestly, I think we could do better. For some reason, I think that the I thought at first computer should be doing much better. On the game. I don't know why. It's not. But I'm gonna. There we go. We're gonna check here temperature. So the CPU is doing fine, 70 some. Like honestly, and it's this that's better. For some reason, I think that the honestly, it doesn't look like it's not. The entire device is struggling to run the game. It doesn't look like that. Check here temperature. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm sure it's a GPU bottleneck. That for sure. Probably. But yeah. So like, not sure if we would actually have to drop that resolution a little more. Performance is choppy, Might have to reboot the system. To me, it really doesn't make that much sense for the game to run as choppy as it's running here. I'd expect that this resolution and settings, I'd expect a much more smooth experience and performance. Like given these settings, 768p, quality low, DirectX version 9, well, nothing to do there, and the rest as low as it can be. And you're still telling me that we're having, there's like pickups every so often, and the machine is somewhat struggling to keep up with this game. Not sure. We're gonna try something else, and if the system continues to behave like this, we'll just reboot it. See what we can do. It's a bit of a pain in the ass to reboot these machines because it is boot camp, and I have the laptop docked, and I have to undock it and hit the option key while it's rebooting. But if the system continues to before using that nuclear option, rebooting, turning off and on. It's a bit of a pain. I like to see usually what's going on here at the system operating system level Windows. Hit the option key while it's rebooting. Like what's this? Steam client helper, probably some helper here for before using that. But yeah, like CPU drops, everything drops, GPU, so it's okay. Baseline, back to baseline. So Metro, we're gonna say that yeah, you can play this game if you want. Maybe you could improve performance. Like obviously, guys, think about this. We are outputting to the 4K monitor, even though we're at 1080p resolution. So that's also we're gonna say that yeah, you can play this game if you want. That's also like obviously guys using resources, right? That's also going to make the graphics card work a little more. 4K monitor, so that said, I'm sure that we're not going to be able to run it, but I'm kind of obsessed with this right now. Fallout 4, like I'm obsessed with two games right now. I got different reasons why. So, recently, Oblivion, the Elder Scrolls Oblivion was released for Nintendo Switch 2, and sometime before that, well, we had Fallout 4 released also for Nintendo Switch 2. Now, I own the Nintendo Switch 2, and lately it's my console of choice when I'm laying in bed or I'm tired, exhausted from training, work, and whatever, and I really don't want to be sitting at my desk or like I just want to be comfortable, and that's usually lying in bed or on the couch and whatnot. So, I figured, what's the most comfortable like right now, what like of all the things that I have, like what's the most comfortable thing for playing when I'm on the bed, when I'm lying in bed or on the couch, right? So I have my phone, obviously, which is the 16 Pro Max. Well, it has a decent sized screen, enough to I don't know, check the news, read some news and whatnot, maybe a little bit of YouTube, not too much though. Okay, and then I have my iPad, the entry-level iPad, and that's awesome. It has a huge screen. It's great for content. It's great for browsing the web, even very late gaming. Like tablet gaming. Can't really get that creative unless you link or you connect a controller. Otherwise, it's these touch controls, depending on the game, can really be annoying, right? So, so recently they released Fallout 4, and the difference between Fallout 4 and Oblivion is that Fallout 4 at least runs at, I think they have a 30 and 40 and 60 FPS mode for the Nintendo Switch 2, so that's interesting as well to have the options to be able to choose and select maybe different performance modes. I think that's quite interesting, and that's something I'm really missing with Oblivion on the Switch 2. I've been reading a lot and checking all the videos since the game was released, and it's running at 30 FPS. It also suffers from all the bullshit related to Unreal Engine 5. Some it does seem to stutter, and the micro stutters, and all the issues related to Unreal Engine 5. But hey, like Fallout 4, I remember when I picked that game up, I picked it up for the Xbox One S. Yeah, that was actually the first like next gen console I picked up after the 360, the Xbox One S, and I remember Fallout 4 came out for that. Hey, I think I had a pretty good experience. It was kind of fun. I picked it up playing back then. I remember. I remember the whole intro, the beginning part, the settlement, just going out and about and exploring and whatnot. But I don't know, I kind of got carried away with the whole settlement thing, like just building and improving and whatnot, and I got carried away from the main game. So I really never really got to play the entire game, right? Oblivion, on the other hand, I did play that game, and I played a lot actually back in the day. I played on PC back in the day, and I remember a friend of mine, he played on PlayStation 3 while I played on PC. Shitty ass PC, I think it was an MDF or something like that back in the day. Or Intel Core 2 Duo. Can't remember now, but it was a shitty PC. So yeah, Oblivion, I played on PC, played a lot with tons of bugs. It was pretty bad back in the day. So being able to maybe this is downloading quite slow, right? Yeah, being able to download and play either Fallout 4 or Oblivion, or The Elder Scrolls Oblivion, which are pretty old games nowadays. Those are very old games. They should be actually, honestly, maybe not Fallout 4, but Oblivion, the original game should easily be able to run on any of our phones. Honestly, the old game is, heck, I have it here. I have it here, and I think it doesn't run through Steam, right? If it doesn't run through Steam, I'll be able to launch it. Let's give it a shot here. The issue is that if it goes through Steam, then it's going to pause the other game, the download. Okay, so it's not going through Steam. I have it here. So it must be like the GOG standalone version. Excellent then. We can keep an eye out here for the download, because what we're interested in, I really want to check out Fallout 4. So yeah, I'm kind of obsessed right now between Fallout 4 and Oblivion. Oblivion, I remember I had a really great time back in the day. I had such a great time that my hopes and my expectations for Skyrim were so high that I don't know what happened along the way. Like, Skyrim just didn't deliver for me. I don't know. I don't know. Like, I really had my expectations really high after playing Oblivion, after, I don't know, investing over 100 hours here easily. And I kept on thinking, everything that this game lacked, maybe you'd play the game and you'd be 50, 60, 70 hours in, and you'd start thinking, like, oh, it'd be so cool to have this, or it'd be so awesome for this to be a feature, and you'd put all those expectations on Skyrim. But I never really clicked with Skyrim. I don't know. So this is set at the 720p. You guys can see here. You'd play the game and you'd be 50, and we're just going to continue the gameplay while Fallout 4 continues to download. So yeah, like I was saying on Skyrim, but I never really clicked with Skyrim. I don't know. So this is set at the 720p. You guys can see here. You'd play the game and like I was saying, continue the gameplay while Fallout 4 I really enjoyed New Vegas. Fallout 3 was really nice too. Like, Fallout 3 was really nice. I remember playing that game also on PC. Like I was saying, and also on Fallout 4. Also on the Xbox. I remember actually enjoying that game on the Xbox too. But the first time I played that game was back on PC. Like I said earlier, same shitty old PC I had back in the day. But yeah, and Fallout 3 was was a heck of an experience. Don't get me wrong. Was a really, really good game, solid story. It even had that issue at the beginning. Um, at the beginning when the game was released, that once you finished the game was over. You weren't really allowed to roam around the world after the events, the final events of the game. And I remember that on PC, the community, they did patch that. They released an unofficial patch, and they kind of got rid of that too. But on console, I think it took them longer to reach that. I think it did take them a little longer, and it was a pity because these worlds, there's just so much to do, and there's so much to explore. But on console, that really sometimes just finishing a game. Fortunately, if you tend to save your games every so often and whatnot, you really won't have an issue. But yeah, that was really a thing back in the day. So that was Fallout 3. Fallout 3 was fun. Then came Fallout New Vegas, and that was crazy. New Vegas was just mind blowing. That I had fun, lots of fun with New Vegas, and I've played that many times. I played it once on the Xbox 360. So that was Fallout 3. Then I got on the Xbox One and on the Xbox Series. They also they didn't release anything. It was just the retro compatible. You were able to play the game from the Xbox 360 on those consoles, so that was good too. That was good. Then PC wise, well, you see, I did play on PC at the beginning, but at the beginning, we're talking about when most likely it was very, very old. And my computer back in the day, well, yeah, probably did run Fallout New Vegas, but probably at, I don't know, 720p or less. So we're talking about when most likely it was very, very old. I don't know, I'm really dying to get a really good experience with Fallout New Vegas, and seems like either they come up with a remaster or a remake or something along the lines, or I don't know, I'm gonna need a heck of a PC to be able to get a really good experience with Fallout New Vegas. Kind of like run. Seems like either they with New Vegas, with mods and whatnot, or a remake or something along the lines. Oh my god! Or I don't know. I'm gonna be able to kill this guy. To be able to. Seems pretty strong though. Kind of like look at that. There we go. And what does he have? It's just some New Vegas, with mods and whatnot. Just teeth. Okay. Oh my god. I'm gonna be able to kill this guy. So, besides Fallout New Vegas, which had a very rich story, and for me, it was also very rich role playing. Just teeth. So, besides Fallout New Vegas, which had a very I think it was story, awesome, and for me it was also very. So then came along Fallout 4, and the thing is that I don't quite remember clicking a lot with it, right? Like that usually happens at times. With me in games, we don't click at the very beginning, and so then came along. Sometimes it could take even 3 or 4 times for me to start a game before clicking. That is, if I really want to get into a game, right? Like that usually happens at times. Sometimes I really feel like, hey, I really should play this game, or I should really watch this TV show, because everybody insists so much in how good it is. So it's like you try to give it many opportunities because you kind of like feel that you're missing out on something. So that's kind of what the situation, right? And sometimes I really also because games are limited, right? It's not like you get tons of games, and especially the ones you like or the ones you may consider your favorite. So that's also a thing with gaming, like Fallouts. We don't have too many Fallouts. We don't get too many Fallouts. These guys, they usually scroll same thing, especially the ones you like or the ones you get one not very often. So it's also about trying to enjoy what's already been released instead of just staying around. So and that applies for all games, like modern, classic, everything. These guys, they usually. So we forgot about this one. Same thing, Gotta loot that too. So this is Oblivion, guys. Like, okay, like, come on. Who hasn't had fun with this? It's also about trying to enjoy. For me, this is crazy, crazy game from back in the day. Having so much fun. Just walked into a random cave and started looting everything like crazy. I don't know, guys. You tell me. Oblivion, guys. Like, okay, like, come on. Who hasn't had fun with this? I think it's kind of entertaining. So while we finish up here with the Elder Scrolls Oblivion, you guys can see here to the right that I don't know, guys. You tell me. We are downloading Fallout 4. I think it's kind of it is coming along quite slowly, actually. So while we finish up here with we're gonna just leave the game. You guys can see here to the right. Allow it to download. We are downloading. It's an old machine, Maybe we shouldn't be multitasking too much. So while we finish up here, let's just quit the game for now. We're gonna just let's let the machine breathe a little bit here. Allow it to download. Okay, let's let it breathe. See if it speeds up a bit. It's an old machine, Maybe we shouldn't be. So yeah, that's the thing. What should I get for the Switch 2? I can get Fallout 4 and maybe enjoy those 3 different modes. They had 30 FPS, 40 FPS, 60 FPS, with all the caveats and whatnot. But still, I think that freedom of choice, or at least being able to adjust, kind of helps you click more with the options, because you have that illusion of choice. So maybe you start playing at the 30 and it's like this choppy, and you go up to 60 and then it's like, hey, I really can't put up with the micro stutter anymore. These not stable, or the unstable frame rate, and then maybe you drop down to 40 and it's like, hey, sweet spot. And since my monitor has this frequency and whatnot, this and that, it's even looking better. So that's kind of like the deal here. That's what I kind of see with Fallout 4. Also, I see a unfinished game when it comes to the main story. It's definitely unfinished for me. I haven't finished Fallout 4, whereas I have finished Fallout 3 and New Vegas and multiple times with multiple endings. But I haven't finished Fallout 4. And Oblivion, well, I already finished Oblivion, and I played it and I dedicated many hours back in the day. And I think it's kind of like the hype, of just being able to play this old school classic of mine on such a portable handheld device such as the Switch 2. But the limitation of the game running at only 30 FPS is really a stopper for me. I don't know. I can't put up with 30 FPS on this day and age. Such as the Switch 2. But the limitation of the game running at only 30 FPS is really a stopper for me. I don't know. I can't put up with 30 FPS on this day and age. Such as the Switch 2. But the limitation of the game running at only 30 FPS is really a stopper for me. I don't know. I can't put up with 30 FPS on this day and age. Such as the Switch 2. So, the limitation of the game running at only gotta clean this can. Is really a stopper for me. So, gotta clean this can. So, gotta clean this can. Crazy shit. This could go faster, I'm sure of it. But I don't think it's the machine in this case. I just think it's a matter of bandwidth on behalf of Steam's machine, maybe. Sorry, Valve's servers. Crazy shit. So yeah, basically go faster, I'm sure of it. Basically, as I was saying earlier, I don't think it's the machine. The Elder Scrolls 4, it's running here pretty fine. On behalf of Steam's machine, we're gonna try to uninstall it. Crazy shit. So yeah, basically go faster. Right. We had the settings here. Everything's just starting to I don't think it's the machine. The Elder Scrolls click again. 4. Forgot about this one. Yeah, so we had here under the display options, uninstall it. That was the resolution. That was the windowed toggle. Right. And then there was something about quality. Things just starting to there was something about quality here. Forgot about this one. Yeah, I can't really remember. Here under the display. It had a name that didn't seem something that had to do with quality. Toggle. And then there was something about quality. Things just starting to there was something about quality. Well, forgot about this one. Yeah, I can't really remember. Whatever it was, it had a name that didn't seem something that had to do with quality. Whatever it was, you know, I don't care. Gotta get rid of the game. I need the space. So if I type here Oblivion, there we go. Can I uninstall? Yeah, Walmart. Okay, whatever. Yeah, Oblivion, like, it's a great game, you know, all-time classic. Runs fine here. I think I'll just pass for now on the Nintendo Switch 2. I think it's kind of lame that it only runs at 30 FPS and that, you know, the Unreal Engine 5, all the issues and all, micro stuttering, does sound kind of annoying. So let's send this to, let's fucking delete this here. Oh, I can't. It has to be here. Okay, Oblivion. So delete. There we go. Can delete this too. Should be nothing around. Awesome. Fallout 4 is on the verge. Let's empty this. Make sure everything is uninstalled. So we have all the storage available. Okay. How much is all this? Nah. Nada. And if now I head back to here. Okay. Yeah, just gotta wait. There's really nothing more to it, you know. We're gonna have to wait for a few minutes here. I don't know, guys. Like, this is such an old machine, but feels solid. You know, it's an old machine and still feels solid. I still gotta pick up the some new thermal paste that I gotta do, you know. Might as well fix that. And I was gonna pick up an SSD, but they're just so expensive now. I really don't think it's worth it anymore. I've having purchased others at cheaper prices kind of makes me feel scammed. So what we're gonna be doing now here with this is we're just gonna be using the USB, the external USB SSD. And honestly, for this machine, we've gone through this before, but yeah, like internal SATA, I think it's running at 6, and the USB 3.0 runs at 5. So all in all, if the SSD itself is reading and writing at 4.5, I really don't think it matters. The bus doesn't matter here. And the operating system is fast and snappy, don't get me wrong. For what we're doing here on a machine of this age, um, using that bus, I think is enough. Obviously, you can't compare to the bus on the M1, for example, or any other more modern, machine. Of course not. But we mustn't forget that this is a 2012 machine. That was 14 years ago. This is the mid 2012 MacBook Pro. I must say, however, that back in the day, this came with, I think it was 4 gigabytes of RAM. Not really sure if it was 4 or 8, or can't remember. And it also came with, I think it was a lane 512, 500 gigabyte hard drive. The tiny ones, the slow ones that were running at 5400 RPM. Yeah, with a write read speed of, I don't know, 40, 50 tops, and slower latency times. So yeah, I think that's what it came with. And well, back in the day, it wasn't fast and it wasn't snappy, that's for sure. There was actually no computer that, I remember it reached a point with technology, and it was right before SSDs, just became mainstream devices, and just mainstream consumer products. Like I knew about SSDs way before they hit the shelves, and I even got to see some like supercomputers that use them. But of course, we're talking about expensive hardware. Not everyone could afford that. Basically, corporations, universities, public, or like government run companies and stuff like that. People who had lots of money. So um before the SSD became a mainstream consumer product, where you could actually just head to your nearest PC hardware store and pick one up, uh, it really reached a point that it didn't matter, like regardless of regardless of your processor, regardless of your RAM and your motherboard and your graphics card and all that, regardless, um some things just, hit the limit and were always going to be slow. And that was, for example, when you were launching the operating system, that was slow. It didn't really matter if you had a really, really powerful processor. It's just that the hard drive was such a bottleneck for booting times. I remember booting into Windows could take easily about a minute, minute and a half, 2 minutes. I remember that anything under a minute was crazy, you know. Booting into Windows under a minute was crazy, or an operating system in general, you know. But that definitely wasn't the norm until SSDs came around, you know, and that just, you know, that the limitation of speed, that slowness for everything, that was everywhere, you know, when you cold booted into Windows, when you cold launched any app, man, that was slow, you know. I'd always say that with these old machines, you really just had to wait there and let them warm up. Usually you'd launch your computer and you'd hit Windows, and it would seem that everything was loaded, but Windows would show you the desktop and whatnot, and Windows would show you the icons, but it would actually be far from having finished loading everything as the operating system needs, right? So, you know, there was still lots of loading and stuff going on in the background. So even though everything seemed like it was loaded, you'd actually hit an icon or shortcut button or whatever, and it would still lag even. It would be worse. So, Fallout 4 crashed. I do not know why. So we're gonna ask here AI to help us. So I'm gonna say, hey, I'm gonna say Fallout 4, my Steam version here on this computer, crashed upon launch. Can you please figure out why? Let's see what it has to say. Probably gonna ask for permission any moment now. So yeah, you know, that itself was crazy. That was crazy when I finally hit the first SSD. And the first SSD I used for myself was in this machine. I remember long ago, actually, very long ago. I remember heading out to I had a computer store, small computer shop next to where my parents lived. And this was probably early decades, early first decades of the year 2000. So this would be like maybe or mid decade actually, 2014, 2015. Don't remember exactly when I picked up that SSD, but I remember, and naturally it's the one we're using right now here on this machine. So that goes to show how well it's been running. Here it is. This is it. The OCZ overclockers, the Agility 3 SSD, 120 gigs at the time, and I don't know. Honestly, check that out. Over 44, almost 44,700 hours, 2,200 power cycles. I think that's kind of crazy. Um, as I was saying earlier, write and read speeds we're seeing here 376, 133. That's plenty speed to make everything feel nice, fast, and snappy. So, you know, that's good. Always faster than the mechanical drive. So, in that regard, it's always going to be better to what it felt like. Of course, I could fit in a. Oh, here we go. Oh, okay. So, once again, I can't run a game because of the graphics card. Can't really remember whatever it was. It had a name that didn't seem something that had to do with quality. Whatever it was, you know, I don't care. Gotta get rid of the game. I need the space. So if I type here Oblivion, there we go. Can I uninstall? So we're going to ask it again. Yeah, Walmart. Okay, whatever. Yeah, Oblivion, like, it's a great game, you know, all-time classic. You think that's still going to work? Fallout
runs
4's
fine here.
Legacy pre-next gen Steam
pass
beta
now
branch
on the Nintendo Switch 2.
That's like the really only hope I
think
have
it's
here,
kinda
because
lame that it only runs at
if it's
30
a graphics
and,
card
you know,
limitation, like
the
an
Unreal-
actual, we're
Unreal Engine
lacking
5
actual
all the
hardware,
issues, well,
we're not going to be able to
micro
do much.
stuttering
So
does
let's
sound pretty
just
annoying.
see if there are any betas going
Let's
on.
send this to.
And I think not. This is just the default public
fucking delete this here.
version.
Oh, I can't.
Nothing going
Nothing
on here.
Okay, Oblivion.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
delete.
so
There we go.
I guess this is
Delete this too.
just one of
Should
those
nothing
games we
around.
won't be running.
Awesome. Fallout 4 is on the verge.
No, never mind. Never mind.
empty
Can
this.
you maybe
Make sure everything's
can you
installed.
maybe prep
So we
a
have all the
launch script with optimal
storage
settings?
available. Okay.
Let's see if
How much is all this?
see if AI can help us a bit with this.
Nada. And if now I head back to here.
Okay, so
See if
Um,
AI can help us a bit with this.
I don't know. GPT 5.6 Luna is getting a bit creative here, which is what I wanted. Okay, so we have a PowerShell script here.
Okay, so
Interesting. Where is it?
see if AI can help us a bit with this.
It's like,
I don't
thank
know.
you for building it,
GPT
but
5.6
where is it?
Luna.
Please
It's getting a bit creative here, which is what
pass.
I wanted.
AI, you
So
know,
we have a
there we go.
PowerShell script here.
oh, it's actually
Interesting.
command.
Where is it?
Let's just
It's like,
check here a
thank
minute.
you for building it, but
5.6
where is it?
Luna.
Please.
Okay, here we go.
Pass.
AI, you know,
So we have a
there we go.
PowerShell script here.
oh, it's actually
Interesting.
command.
Where is it?
Let's just
It's
check
like,
here.
thank
That's
you
it.
for building it, but where is it?
This whole bullshit thing just for the no launcher argument, which didn't even work.
PowerShell script here.
Oh, it's actually command.
Where is it?
Let's just
It's
check
like,
here.
thank
That's
you
it.
for building it, but where is it?
This whole bullshit thing just for the no launcher argument. Well, which didn't even work.
Oh, it's actually
That was expected.
Let's just check here.
That's it. This whole bullshit thing just for the no launcher. It crashed. Or never launched.
Which didn't even work.
Yeah. That was expected.
That's it. This whole bullshit thing just for the no launcher.
It crashed. Or never launched.
Which didn't even work.
Yeah. That was expected.
That's it. This whole bullshit thing just for the no launcher.
It crashed. Or never launched.
Which didn't even work.
Okay, so we just can't do it. That's it, you know? Gotta sometimes understand the limitations of these machines. Sometimes there's hardware you just cannot run, and that was the case with Fallout 4. Now, someone was asking, is this a Mac? Well, yes, it is.
We just can't do it.
This
That's
is
it, you know?
the
Gotta sometimes
MacBook
understand
Pro
the
from
limitations of
2012.
these machines.
The
Sometimes there's
2012
hardware you just
MacBook
cannot
Pro.
run, and that was the case with Fallout 4.
This is
Now, someone was asking, is this
a
Well, yes, it
old
is. We
machine.
just can't
Yeah,
do it.
this
That's it,
is
you know?
about. I could download this, you know, just for fun. From 2012. The 2012. This machine is over 14 years old. This is, and it's the 2012 MacBook Pro with the unibody chassis. I could download this, you know, just for fun. My version, the one I purchased back in the day, the entry level, is over 14 with the Intel i5 of the 3210M MacBook processor, microprocessor chassis. It's, you know, not the best CPU out there, honestly. Back in the day, the entry level. Well, but it was all we actually had back in the day. i5 of the 3210. Those times, you know, this was processor, third generation chassis. For the Intel family, and the best back then. Intel was basically everything we had. So, well, we actually had back in the day, no competition, right? And this came with the, I think it came with a 500 gigabyte mechanical hard drive running at 5400 RPMs, you know, with very, very slow and reduced write and read speeds with lots of latency and, you know, all the classic things that came with mechanical hard drives, especially when we were using them as our main very, very slow drive, you know, where we read speeds from which we booted our operating systems. So yeah, that's that was slow. So what we're doing here is we're running Windows 10 off a SSD that's connected to the machine through the USB bus instead of the internal SATA bus. But so what we're doing here is we don't need to, and the difference in speed, we don't really consider that's going to make that much of a difference. Connected to the machine through the USB bus. So internal SATA bus. So what we're doing here is we don't need that's to, just the way we're going to do that. The difference in speed, you know, we don't really consider that's what we consider much of a difference. Honestly, that's what I believe. You know, I don't think there's that much of a difference. So these drives, you guys read, right? You can see it here, right? It's writing at 376. That's the max for whenever the last time it was I reboot the machine, and read the same 133. Honestly, that is still below the maximum bus speed of the drive of the bus itself. Sorry, on USB 3.0, which I believe is it's near. I think it's around 500 or so. So you know, there's still a bit of bus there to go, and obviously it's still much below the bus, the SATA bus, on the motherboard. So, which I believe is, it's near. I think it's course. You know, so you know, there's a bigger bus. There we go, full screen. And there's a bigger bus if we were to have the drive connected internally. But so I don't know. I already have a version of Mac OS Catalina on the internal drive shared with Windows 8.1. So we're going to make sure here, not low detail. I don't think we need compressed, actually. This is an old game internally. But 800 by 600. I don't know. I already have, let's try 720p to begin with on the internal drive shared with Windows 8.1. Save and exit. That should be good. We're going to make sure here, not low detail. I don't think we need compressed. This is a really old game. This is an old game internally. This game should run fine, regardless, you know, of graphics. Try 720p to begin with on the internal drive shared with Windows. Save and exit. That should be good. We're going to make sure here. Let's give it a shot. I don't think we need compressed. This is a really old game. This is an old game internally. This game should run fine, regardless, you know, of graphics. Try 720p to begin with. Here we are. Options, audio, video. So we can choose some settings here in game. Very interesting. And let's just go out for a free ride. Why not? I think that's of, my God, I remember back in the day how slow that used to load. Back when I
can choose
when I played this game on my PC, you know, I'd be able just to stare at the dots.
for a free ride.
That was the SSD, you know, we were talking about recently. That's SSD speed.
God, I remember
Just being able to look at the dots, stare at the dots there while the game was loading. Now, I can't hear a thing. I play this game on and I think that's because
just to stare at the dots.
I muted everything.
That was
here on
the
system.
SSD, you know,
So
we were talking about recently. That's SSD speed.
just being able to look at the
Step out of the vehicle, please. Step out of the vehicle, please. Drop your weapon and put your hands up. Could you please step out of the car, sir? Step out of the vehicle, please. Could you please step out of the car, sir? Step out of the vehicle, please. Could you please step out of the car, sir? Step out of the vehicle, please. Could you please step out of the car, sir? Step out of the vehicle, please. Could you please step out of the car, sir?
sniper
Step out
mode.
of the vehicle, please.
Lock.
Could you please step out of the car, sir? Step out of the vehicle, please.
was first one.
Come on.
Easy and pretty nice. Nice game. This is another one of those games I want to try. That was it's a really cool game too. First again too. One of those old school classics. Look at that. Not even 500 gigabytes downloaded. Done. Another one of those games that I installed back in the day when it's a really cool game too. First again too. One of those old school. When I still used, I think it was Windows 98, Windows XP. So definitely another one of those games that still looking at Pentium 4, more Pentium 4 than Pentium 3. But because yeah, those were kind of like the CPUs I had back in the day. I remember when I was a kid, we had a 386. I think it was. Back in the day, I'm talking about the late 90s. And I think we had a 386 at home with a 28 kilo. The late 90s. There wasn't really that much going on the internet. Honestly, guys, I remember everything was super slow to begin with. We're talking about several minutes to do basically anything. And just update your mail. It takes several minutes. Same goes with same goes with, for example, trying to load a website. Several minutes. With the limited number of websites, like Google wasn't a thing, YouTube wasn't definitely not a thing. Lots of limitations there too. But I don't know, you guys didn't really care about internet that much back then. It still wasn't that much of a thing. Not because it wasn't we were able to communicate with computers. Not everything was the internet or email. But other application ways of connecting to the computer. But it was more like still wasn't that much of a thing. It's more like
Buongiorno, figlio mio. Come va?
Padre, I'm okay, but I must speak with you.
Taci, figlio mio. Be quiet, my son. We have a segno here in Sicily. Non saggio, non vedo, non c'ero, e se c'era non me. So, if you want to open your heart, the only safe place is a confessional church.
But I must speak with you.
Taci, figlio mio.
The first time I encountered a CD tray. CD drive. It wasn't the conventional drive that we had later in the 2000s. You know, the ones where you would just hit a button and a tray would pop out of your computer. And you just lay a disk. And that's about it. No. This was more of like a bulkier machine where you'd actually have to open up this like very, very specific CD plastic case housing tray, something like that, you know, and you'd open it up and you'd place the disc inside. And then you'd take this plastic thing, this plastic housing, casing, whatever you want to call it, and you'd pop that into a machine that was the actual CD reader, which was connected to the computer. And this was back in the day. We were using Windows 3.11 at school because we already had some internet. So that's how far back we think of CD reader. So after that, this was back in the day. That's when I lived with Windows 3.1 at school. Windows 95. That was the last version of Windows that I used in Canada before moving over to Europe. Then after that, once in Europe, you know, that's when I lived with Windows. My
Padre,
parents,
I have sinned.
got a computer
Avanti,
here in
figlio mio. Continue, my son.
at 800 megahertz.
I have done some terrible things in my
They
life.
installed Windows
I have killed many people for money, out of ignorance, out of evil, out of hatred. I have sinned.
and a very
Figlio
basic
mio, I know you well.
card, I believe, too.
You are also a good person.
Terrible things in my life.
I've seen you taking care of the garden.
I have killed
I know
That wasn't that much.
the large amount of money you donated to the church. Your soul is on the right path.
out of hatred.
You know, I had already
But Father, I do not belong. I'm not of this world. So why should God forgive me?
Do not worry, my son. When your time comes, He will have a place for you as well. Just keep God in your heart. Now I must leave. Stay a while and pray.
Lead me, O Heavenly Father, in the path of right.
Sorry,
I walk alone and stumble in the dark. Show me the light and I'll go there. Let me find peace in my own heart and save me from my enemies.
God in your heart. Now I
that
must
was a
leave.
good.
Benvenuti ragazzi. Purtroppo la chiesa è chiusa. Quindi da domani, per favore.
Benvenuto, vecchio amico mio.
Non è questo il momento di darci
Per favore,
appuntamento!
aiutatemi! Lasciatemi, per favore! Lasciatemi! Lasciatemi!
Porca troia! Taci! Sta giù! Giù!
Da domani, per favore.
Questo è il momento di darci appuntamento!
Lasciatemi, per favore! Lasciatemi!
Yeah, I don't know. Like,
Taci! Sta
and
giù!
that was, you know, I lived with the Pentium 3 for some time there. And the Pentium 4 came around. Again, really, really shitty. I think they still kind of beat the AMD Athlons. Yeah, back in the day. And that was, you know, regardless, the thing is that.
Benvenuto in Sicilia, Bassano. We hope you enjoyed the famous Italian hospitality on our beautiful island. However, there will be a slight charge for your stay. You will prepare a cash transfer of $500,000. No later than midnight the day after tomorrow. Meanwhile, we'll be entertaining your host, Padre Vittorio. He very much enjoys fishing. We are making sure he is happy that way until the payment has been effected. Lei sentirà di noi, Giuseppe Giuliano. $500,000. Can't pay that. I'm going to the garden shed. Time to dig up the past.
I don't know, somehow got myself a graphics card. Something humble though, you know, nothing fancy, but a simple graphics card, discreet, so that we would be able to run some games.
I'm going to the garden shed.
And slowly, you know,
Time
slowly
to dig up the past.
evolved. Like I remember got myself a graphics card. This is crazy, right? But I do remember clearly when I first, you know, started playing around with Half-Life, you know, Counter-Strike and whatnot. And honestly, I remember back in the day, Half-Life was a standalone game. You really didn't use Steam or anything like that. First game on a disc, you'd install it, and then you'd have to patch it up with, you know, all the available patches if you wanted to play online and whatnot, or install mods, because back in the day, well, you know, Counter-Strike, Team Fortress Classic, Day of Defeat, all those games that apparently now are standalone games, back in the day were just mods. Patch it up, Half-Life mods. So obviously, yeah, like wanted to play online and whatnot, or install mods. I remember booting up Counter-Strike, playing at Day of Defeat, all those 800 by 600 resolution games that apparently now are standalone games, back in the day were just barely getting like 10-20 frames per second. and adding in an extra, I don't know, 16 megabytes of RAM, going or 32 megabytes of RAM, going from 32 to 64, and just seeing that the frame rate improve altogether, you know, and seeing everything improve in general. The resolution, I'd be able to bump it up more. The frame rate would improve. The game would be much more smooth when it came to gaming. And it was kind of awesome just to live that moment. That was a crazy moment. Just how I saw myself. The resolution, I'd be able to bump it up more. The frame rate would improve. Popping in sticks of RAM, much more smooth. Seeing how the resolution, everything, you know, the performance was just
Agency, this is 47.
linear.
Patch me through to Diana.
We need to confirm your ID registration, please.
My number is BRO 3886. Put Diana on, she'll recognize my voice.
47? This is Diana speaking. It's good to hear your voice again.
Linear.
We all thought you were dead. You'll be pleased to know your skills are in great demand these days. You're almost a legend amongst our customers.
Diana, I'm not looking for work. I need some information on a Giuseppe Giuliano from Palermo in Sicily. What have you got?
Let me see. Giuseppe. Oh yes, I've got a fact file. Giuseppe Giuliano, aka Don Guido Giuliano, capo of one of the largest, oldest and most influential mafia organizations in Sicily.
I need detailed satellite surveillance on his residence and info on security and access routes. And keep an eye out for a priest. He's a friend of mine who was kidnapped.
A friend? Have you gone soft, 47? Besides, we don't believe in handing over information for free. How do you think you're going to pay us back? I've heard that you're extremely wealthy.
I don't recall.
It's been a while, 47, so let's just run through the basic routines together. Agency just wants to make sure you're not too rusty before your first mission.
Pentium 4 had no problem. Was able to add half of gig.
It's been a while, 47, so let's just run through the basic routines together. Agency just wants to make sure you're not too rusty before your first mission.
Pentium 4 was a different story. It had the turbo. No turbo boost. It had the virtual parallelization in the core. Pentium 3 was still the same core, but Pentium 4 introduced the threads, I think it was, or some virtualization of the cores. So you'd be able to have the physical cores and then the logical cores. Why can't they pick this up? Pentium 3 was still the same core. So yeah, that Pentium 4 was crazy, and then you know when we shifted to Intel Core 2 Duo, that was just like crazy. That processor on it being so nice, cheap and nice. Talk to the Scarecrow. So yeah, that Pentium 4 was great. And when we shifted to Intel Core 2 Duo, that was just. It's the gun. They said to kitchen light. Oh, here we go. Oh, but I don't have that. Go back. So yeah, so this game, let's see. This game I'm playing, I still remember I should have some screenshots. Or some screenshots. Yeah, so this game. That was such a time. I think that was a crazy time to be alive. Should have some screenshots. Obviously, the evolution is crazy. Where we're at today. But, you know, times are changing and everything's changing. So the idea of keeping handy an old machine to be able to play old games at least in a native manner is something interesting. You know, like all the new processors, all the new computers that Apple is releasing. They're all based on ARM architecture, and you know, despite them being very powerful machines with very powerful processors, RAM, CPU, GPU cores, everything. You know, there are still some things, you know, with emulation and whatnot. It's just not the same core native experience you get with native hardware when it comes to these games, of course. Once games have been developed with ARM in mind, you know, there was really no issue, right? But I kind of find that, you know, slowly as time goes by, lots of games that maybe you once enjoyed on Windows 98, Windows XP, especially these 32-bit games, you know, 32-bit applications in general were killed from the Mac OS environment and operating systems long ago. You can't even think about launching or running anything that's 32-bit anymore on Mac OS. So that's applications in general. One thing to keep in mind. Also, fortunately, this 2012 MacBook still has an Intel processor. You can still pick up pretty decent, like modern or as modern as the last Intel Mac that's available out there. I really wouldn't recommend picking up, fortunately, an Intel Mac this day and age anymore. Like, just spend that money on a PC, whatever. I'm sure you'll get much better performance if what you intend on using is just boot camp. But if you have an old Intel Mac lying around the house, and you can easily pop in an SSD or just add more RAM, you might get your hands on a decent machine just to run old school classics. And by old school classics, well, there are already some games here on the desktop you guys can see, like, you know, Max Payne, Max Payne 2, all these games that are in the early, mid, and late 2000s are going to run like a charm, you know, no issues at all. All these old PC games which are expected to run. Then, you know, this machine is from 2012, so that's also a shared time with the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3 and the console sphere. So, you know, from testing, we've seen that some games from that time, you will be able to play them at 720p 30 FPS if you're lucky, depending really on, you know, the requirements. Because, well, of course, this machine doesn't have a dedicated graphics card. It's really not that powerful of a machine, but it can still do a thing here and there, you know. Everybody knows that Macs aren't for gaming. In this case, it's because of hardware. Because obviously, you know, Windows is running on the machine, and this is Windows 10 running on the machine. But it's more of the hardware, though. You know, like we always tend to do on this channel, we squeeze the hardware like crazy. You know, we just try to push it to its limits. And Windows is running on the machine. This isn't going to be an exception. This machine. But we've already padded it up with thermal pads, like we always so to dissipate more heat through the aluminum back plate. And the other day we changed the thermal paste, but we're going to have to do that again because the thermal paste wasn't in good conditions, you know. So I'll have to pick up some new thermal paste in the back. And yeah, so and sometimes I even point a fan at the back of the MacBook just to see if it can drop. Let the video too. So yeah, you know, we just tend to push all these machines to the limit, see, you know, what it can do, what it can't do. Yeah, so in this case, we're gonna see if it can run Left 4 Dead 2. These games are interesting, actually. I'm gonna drop it down to 720p. Yeah, you know, we just tend to push all these machines to the limit, see what we've been seeing as the best settings for all these games. Double buffer is fine. Keep that at low. Keep that at low. Low. Multi-core rendering. What is this? Yeah, this has multi-cores. Page pool memory. Yeah, fine. Okay, so it popped out as a window, as expected. Lovely. And there we go. Play survival. It's a quick match now. Single player. Let's go. Lovely. And there we go. Play survival. It's a quick match now. Single player. Let's go. Lovely.
This info is mine.
Laser sights here.
Honestly, it's running better than expected. Like, jokes aside, the game's running right now at a very, very nice 100 frames per second, which is crazy. The game is super.
First aid here.
Like, just look how the game is running. This game must be super smooth, just because of the mechanic and the dynamics of the game.
Laser sights here.
It's a very, very, very nice, fast-paced game, action-based, with
First aid here.
overwhelming.
Going with the machine gun.
Laser sights here.
There are moments that can be overwhelming, depending on the mechanic and the dynamics of how
Laser sights here.
mechanics. Okay, so we're outside now, and the frame rate has taken a hit,
Going with the machine gun.
which again is expected. This is be ready to fight the horde. This is the outside. Okay, so we're outside, you know.
No, you reckon we should move on now?
Frame rate has taken a hit. I wouldn't expect for the frame rate to drop. It's expected. So this means most likely that we're gonna see the whole game just like.
We got inbound. Now this is a gun. Everybody grab a weapon.
probably be able to play a little bit with the settings. Play around with the settings, maybe move the quality a bit, and could go pretty easy experience right now. So enough of this. Play around with the settings, maybe move the quality a bit, and enough in general for now. I'd say. Let's say enough in general for now. Yes. So enough of this. I'd say we've seen enough for today. We can definitely test more games later, but for now, I think we've seen a fair amount of games. So, hope you guys have enjoyed. And I'll see you around. Seen enough for today. We can definitely on the next video. But for now, take care.